on that note, I'm now going to welcome to the stage our wonderful MP for Milton Keynes North, Ben Everitt. Please give him a round of applause.
It's a genuine pleasure, actually, to sponsor this event, sponsor the room. It's quite fitting, really, that we're in the Churchill room here in Parliament, and Churchill, one of the great wartime leaders, and as many of you will be aware, that we also hosted another great wartime leader here today, President Zelensky. It's quite humbling to be in these historic surroundings. Essentially, whilst history is being made, the world around us is changing as we speak. But every one of us in this room plays our own small part in moving society forward. Be it you, the entrepreneurs, the innovators, the grease in the wheels of global capitalism, or me and my colleagues down here, scrutinising laws, developing laws, trying to run the country, trying to keep the show on the road. So it really is an honour to be amongst you all. I thought I'd like to I'll speak to Milton Keynes. I'll talk about how brilliant Milton Keynes is. I'll talk a bit about why you should all be definitely investing there, and why the UK is definitely the best place in the world to invest. But firstly, a huge thank you to Dr. Rana, our headline sponsor, and of course to the wonderful Victoria for organising today's event. So, of course, Business Live Global is based in Milton Keynes. I'm incredibly proud of that, especially now you've just got $1 million. So that's fantastic. I'm hoping all of that will be invested in Milton Keynes. You've been running this business for 10 years now.
Since 2009.
My goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not very good at maths, but that's definitely more than 10 years. But it was 10 years ago when you had your first event down here in Westminster.
Correct, yeah.
And that event was sponsored by my colleague from Milton Keynes South, which is the second best constituency in Milton Keynes, the esteemed Ian Stewart, yes. Who probably gave a much better speech than I did, but he is much, much older. So it's just gravitas and experience. So Milton Keynes, why should you invest there? Why is it the greatest city in the world? Why should you tell everybody else to invest there? I'm proud. I'm genuinely proud and humbled to be the Member of Parliament for Milton Keynes. In fact, actually, I think I'll probably tell you a bit about what it's like to be an MP at the moment, and just give you a little bit of insight into that. So I was elected in December 2019, and things were pretty quiet for a couple of weeks. And then everything went nuts. We had Brexit, the pandemic, we had the lockdowns, we had the Afghan withdrawal, we had the invasion of Ukraine, the Ever Given tanker. Do you remember that? Causing havoc across our global supply chains. The departure of a prime minister, in circumstances looking back, actually, through that bizarre lens of hindsight, seemed to have revolved around cake. But everything has been nuts. It all carried on. We had the cost of living crisis. We had a new prime minister. We had the death of the monarch. We had the departure of another new prime minister. We had the rise of a new prime minister, who is our current one, I think, unless anybody can tell me any different, because I haven't checked my phone in about 20 minutes or so, and things move quickly around here. It is pretty busy. And then right up at the end of last year, we had the Football World Cup, and I can tell you, as a politician, we were so grateful that every journalist that was swarming around the Palace of Westminster here decided to start reporting on the World Cup. There was a huge sigh of relief. And then it doubled down. Prince Harry. Bless him.
Thank you.
No, I genuinely do. I've got no strong feelings at all about Harry and Meghan. But all of a sudden, the pressure was off, and people were emailing in saying, what do you think about their Netflix series and the book? Thank you. Yeah, it's great. So it is difficult, but we have, some of the pressure is relieved, and we've got on with the job of running the country and helping our constituents. Day to day, crazy. It's mad. I bloody love it. It's a brilliant job. It's so satisfying to be able to help people with casework, to sort out whatever problem that they've got that is making their life a misery. And I can step in and pick up the phone to the chief exec or something like that and sort their problem out, if it's a driving license or a passport or a visa, anything. And it's the best feeling in the world. I personally think there's this dopamine hit that all politicians are addicted to, and that's why we do it. That's what keeps us driving through, no matter what's going on with the press and the protesters and everything else. It keeps us coming into the office. And people often say, is it what you expected? And genuinely, and if anybody expected this job, they wouldn't do it. If you described the job to them, they'd think you were mad. But the best way, I think, of describing it is that it's like I suddenly became, in December 2019, a small business owner. And you do all the things that a small business owner does. You run a small office, you've got a small team, you have a set of customers to look after. I've got 92,000 electors to look after. You do your own comms, you do your own HR, you do your own admin, office admin, you do your own fundraising, which is why I'm delighted to speak to so many investors tonight. It's genuinely the best job in the world, genuinely, and it's an honour and a privilege to represent Milton Keynes in Parliament. It's a forward-thinking city. It's a city of robots and space technology, Formula One teams and driverless cars. It's so new, Milton Keynes, so new, we're still building it. It was born out of the vision of some kind of 1960s hippie architects and town planners. It's a genuinely wonderful, bizarre place that I'm just so proud to represent. It's in the prime location in the UK. We're in what they call the Golden Triangle. You've got Oxford and you've got Cambridge. Hang on, I'm facing you. You've got Oxford and you've got Cambridge and you've got London. And Milton Keynes is half an hour on the train away from all of these. But recently, Milton Keynes has stood on its own 2 feet. We're no longer that pinnacle point at the top of that golden triangle. Whilst accessibility has been our USP, now it's much more about technology. It's much more about what Milton Keynes can add. We are now a fully fledged city. Last year, in the Platinum Jubilee, Her Majesty the Queen bestowed city status on us, which is a huge honour. And that really is helping us market the place. It's giving us a real rocket booster globally to get people to our city. And we are we're last in and first out to every economic downturn. The data proves this. So last year, the Tech Ecosystem Report showed that Milton Keynes has one of the highest startup rates in the UK. We're one of the fastest growing cities in terms of our economy, but also in terms of our size. And that's down to our highly skilled workforce, our strong tech scene, and that historical geographical advantage. So without wanting to sound like the younger sibling bringing home a bigger trophy than the big brothers, Milton Keynes now has a higher gross value add than either Cambridge or Oxford. So we are punching already above our weight, only 55 years in, with such a future ahead of us. And again, it's just so close to London. When I became an MP, so a journalist from The Economist took me aside and he said, "Did you know that Milton Keynes was the most productive area of the UK?" So, no. And to be honest, during the election, I'd have talked about that a lot if I did know that. And he said, yeah, well, if you count London as the city of London, then you're not. But if you count London as Greater London, then you definitely are. So we are, when you count London as Greater London, the most productive part of the UK. I mentioned robot cars and robots and driverless cars earlier. you can get your groceries in Milton Keynes. I bet you do this, actually.
I live out in the country now, but yes.
You can get your groceries in Milton Keynes delivered by robot. So you go on your app, you do your shopping as you would do on an online shop, and then sometime later, a cute little robot will just arrive at your doors. And they are genuinely cute. They're little white things, 6 wheels, 2 little headlights for eyes, a little flag with a light on. And it arrives at your door and it pops up and you take out your groceries. Why is this just normal in Milton Keynes? Well, it's because it's always been the city of the future. The people in Milton Keynes get it. The people that are born there are brought up on it. The people that move there because they buy into the culture. And again, they want to be part of that tech-savvy, high-skilled economy. I think I can name some other cities in the UK, and possibly around the world, where those little robots would constantly be vandalised and thrown in the canal. In Milton Keynes, no. I won't name those cities, by the way, because I'm being recorded. But it is part of the attraction of Milton Keynes. But it's not just about Milton Keynes down here in Westminster, although, as you can see, I try to get Milton Keynes into every single speech I make, because it's basically my job. Britain generally is a great place to invest right now. The fundamentals of our economy are sound. We've got mature, high-spending consumer markets. We've got open, liberal economies, first-class talent, business-friendly. We've got a consistent regulatory environment. We've got the English language. We've got a robust legal system. There's a good funding environment. Our time zone advantage, having invented time zones, which does come in handy. Comparatively, there's a lack of red tape, although, if you do my job, you wouldn't believe that. But I'm told that we have comparatively have got a lack of red tape. And it's that lack of red tape that is the biggest attraction for investors. Yesterday, the government made what they call a machinery of government changes, where they moved all the I was going to say deck chairs on the Titanic. They moved all the pieces in Whitehall around to sort of retask the government. And I think this is really quite exciting. We are on the cusp of kind of really realising what we all are all about in the UK. So we now have a Department for Science, Innovation and Technology. And that's to make sure that the UK is the country where the next greatest set of scientific discoveries are made, where the brightest minds, the most ambitious entrepreneurs like you can turn your ideas into companies and into products and then into services that change the world. And then one last thing, we have a Department for Business and Trade now. These two things, so looking internationally, but looking in the UK as well. And so we have now a single coherent voice for business inside government, focused on growing the economy with better regulation, new trade deals abroad, and a renewed culture of enterprise at home here in the UK. So now is a great time to invest in Britain, particularly in Milton Keynes, because we've got those fundamentals of our economy, we've got great people, we've got the English language, the rule of law, and robots.
Thank you. And could you mention some people you've done with Red Bull, so Red Bull Network Rail, just mentioning the two bits.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
Apparently, I've undersold Milton Keynes.
Only for the international audience.
So there are some huge global brands that have made their headquarters in Milton Keynes. So Red Bull Racing, the Formula One team. Santander have recently moved their UK headquarters and their tech hub for Europe into Milton Keynes. We've got Aston Martin Racing, Network Rail, huge employer, Home Retail Group who do Argos and Asda and Homebase. There are some massive employers. Goldman Sachs have got a site there, Deloitte, where I used to work before I escaped. Domino's Pizza.
Papa John's.
My word.
We could go on and on.
Absolutely. And with 82% of the economy in Milton Keynes based around services, this is why we bounce back so quickly, and this is why we are a great investment choice, because there are so many parts of that ecosystem that a new company, a startup company, can already plug into. One of the best things about Milton Keynes is the really cool spacey stuff that we've got. We've got the Open University, who do high-tech, high-end research into all manner of things, but then they spin off these companies into startups around Milton Keynes. And actually the synergies between the space technology, I went to a company recently that is designing a part for a drill that is on the dark side of the moon looking for water at the moment, but they also use the same technology for their services for Red Bull racing. So there is significant synergies there to be had as well.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much, Ben. Thank you so much.
All right.
Amazing. Thank you.
Cheers.
Right.